Anyway, the running game in the first half, Bo Jackson did not have space to breathe. He couldn't breathe. I think he was averaging like 2 yards in the first half. It was bad, man. It definitely got better in the second half. And I wrote an article about the running game on BuckeyeHuddle.com. You can check out. But I wanted to go down and kind of just go a little deeper on the stats of these running backs, because we know that it's not all the running backs as far as the running game not totally clicking. There's been some tight end issues in there, minimal offensive line issues. I think the offensive line has all in all been pretty well in the run blocking. But if you go down through the statistics, yards per carry, CJ Donaldson, 4.2 yards per carry. That is 213th out of 283. That's really bad. Yards after contact, this is something Ryan Day feels really big about. Yards after contact, 2.35. That is 258th out of 283, which, that's bottom 15% in the entire country. That's not near good enough. Forced missed tackles, 2. He's forced 2 missed tackles. Isaiah West has barely played, and Isaiah West has forced 7 missed tackles to CJ Donaldson's 2. That's wild, man. That's a wild stat for a guy like that, for a guy that big, and it's just not good enough. Not good enough. And that is out of 283 backs with the baseline of 20 carries or more. James Peoples, his statistics in that area, 5.1 yards per carry. That is acceptable, right? That's acceptable to good. That's 129th out of 283. So a little bit above the center line there. We'll take it. Yards after contact, this is where he, comes down below the number 2. 2.85, which is 203rd out of 283. But there's room for improvement with James. There's room for improvement there. Missed tackles forced, 6 missed tackles forced, which is 233rd out of 283. So, not good enough there, not good enough in yards after contact, but there's something there. But when we go back to the beginning of the year and talk about these two guys, remember, this was Sonic and Knuckles. You had people comparing James Peoples to J.K. Dobbins. Like that's a serious comp, man. And Ohio State, what they've gotten out of these two backs has been nothing like that at all. CJ Donaldson is lumbering. He's got no juice. He has poor vision. Sometimes he doesn't even attempt to avoid a guy if he breaks it, past the first level. He just runs right into him. He doesn't even try to put a move on him. Last week against Illinois, he ran up Carson Hinsman's rear end and fell down. 2 plays later, he ran out in the flat for a pass and ran into the defender and fell down. It's almost comical when you watch it in the end zone view. James hasn't been too much better. It's been far for good by the Sonic and Knuckles crew. So no way to sugarcoat that. It's just not up to the standard of Ohio State running backs. This is Ohio State. Luckily, Bo Jackson got the opportunity early, and he popped up and took the starting running back role by week 3. And Ohio State wrestled around with, all right, how do we distribute the carries now that Bo's the starting running back? First game they gave with Bo as the starter in Washington, it was either Peoples or Donaldson got the other bulk share of the carries, and the other one just got like 3. I think it was Donaldson. Then they reversed their roles the next game. Then the last game, it was something different. It's just felt really clunky as to how do we orchestrate it with these 3 backs. Nobody really felt like they were getting in a rhythm. And then you combine it with some bad blocking by the tight ends at Illinois, and it's just been looking really clunky. And it feels like they got to settle in and get into some kind of rhythm. But at the end of the Illinois game, they gave Isaiah West a couple of opportunities to basically, like, they were just running out the clock, and the runs went nowhere. But the fact that they got Isaiah in there made me think, all right, I think we're going to see Isaiah at Wisconsin. He might get a shot. Now, I had just reached out to him like 2 weeks ago because I thought he was going to get a shot pretty soon. And he told me, I believe I'll be ready when I get my shot. And he sure was, man. He sure was. 6.1 yards per carry. He got 9 carries, led the team in rushing with those 9 carries. He had a 14-yarder. He had a 15-yarder. And his very first carry, he absolutely trucked a dude. It was a more physical run in his first carry than we've seen out of the big physical back, CJ Donaldson, all year. Now, I'm biased. I love Isaiah West. I don't come into this conversation unbiased. This is a 3-star dude who, his story is just awesome to me. I love stories like this. Like, this is a dude who was committed to Kentucky. That was his biggest offer. And he went to Kentucky because he thought that he was good enough to play in the SEC. And that was the best. That was what he thought. And Carlos Loughlin was recruiting him at Oregon. And when he got to Ohio State, you had 2 big dogs on the board. You had Bo Jackson and Jordan Davison. And then there was some talk, maybe they'll take 3. He offers Isaiah. And at the time, people were not happy because they thought if Isaiah committed first, it would probably mean Jordan Davison or Bo Jackson wouldn't commit. And we don't want that 3-star ruining this for us. You know what I mean? And I get it. But this is a kid who was ranked 790th in the country, and nothing about him or his film matched that. And that was very clear. And when I asked him about that ranking, if it bothered him, he said, the people who needed to find me found me. And I just love that answer. He's one of the most mature 17-year-olds I've ever talked to. That was about a year ago. The talent, undeniable. And I thought that him and Bo, neck and neck, but I would give Bo the nod because Bo has the breakaway speed. But Isaiah, a physical style of running with great vision, awesome contact balance. And we didn't even get to see all of his skills on display here in this game. But we saw enough, I think, that most people understand he's a dude, right? He is a dude. Whether, no matter where he ranks on your hierarchy of these running backs, he's a dude. Now, this is something I used to talk about in the show all the time. I got laughed at a lot about talking about this 3-star back. So I feel very happy for him, happy for myself as well. He proved me right. But I did not think he would get the opportunity to get to play this year, to be honest. He missed all of spring. And now that he's gotten this opportunity, obviously Bo has cemented himself in his role in the backfield. What do they do now? What are they going to do? Like, the toothpaste is out of the bottle. Everybody's seeing that Isaiah West looks like, a more productive back at this point in a very small sample size than we've seen out of a couple of them all year. So what do you do? Does it make it more complicated? Or is it just as complicated as they make it? And what I mean by that is you've got 3 older guys, right? 3 older guys in Sam Dixon, James Peoples, and CJ Donaldson that, you could say they're about to get passed by 2 freshmen. And that is an awkward situation. You don't like to find yourselves in situations like that, especially in the middle of the season. But this is a national championship run season. You can't be screwing around with people's feelings or worrying about what someone might do in the portal. Obviously, Donaldson's done. This is his only year. But it's an interesting situation that goes in with all this. And you just got to wonder, you got the next 4 games. Like I said, the next 4 opponents, 3-13 in the Big Ten. So what do you do? You know what I mean? Do you keep rotating? Do you try to come up with a rhythm that feels good because you've never really found a good rhythm yet, and now you've added another running back into the equation? I don't know what you do, man. Do you keep bringing in Donaldson for these short runs, which I even understand using him here and there, because using him, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, is just to spell Bo, to keep Bo from the rigors of too many carries. So using Donaldson in that role, even though he's not very good in a game that you're winning easily, is like, whatever, who cares? But using him on the goal line is not good. Using him in short yardage is not good. Isaiah West at 210 pounds, Bo at 224, Donaldson at 227, though I think he's probably gained a couple pounds since he was 227 in the preseason. Isaiah brings 210 pounds to the party every time he plays. So does Bo. I don't think CJ Donaldson does. I don't think he understands leverage. He doesn't know how to use that big body. And I don't think he's good at short yardage at all. He can't get skinny. He can't run anybody over. he has some qualities, but it's not that. So I would love to see Isaiah get those short yardage carries if they're not going to give him to Bo, because Isaiah runs with a physicality that I've never seen out of Donaldson. But anyway, you got a big decision to make in these next 4 games. I am so curious to see how they decide to work it out